Excellencies, distinguished delegates, very good afternoon to you all. We shall now proceed to agenda item 7, adoption of the report of the committee on its 7th session. I would like to request the Secretariat to make an announcement.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, an evaluation questionnaire has been prepared to seek your views on the relevance, effectiveness, and the quality of the 7th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction. We encourage each delegation to please take a few minutes to fill in the questionnaire to help us improve future sessions. The questionnaire can be completed online using the link shown in Kudo messaging box and shared with you via email. The result will be used to improve future sessions of the committee. Thank you for taking time to provide us with your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretariat. I trust you have all had a chance to review the report to be adopted under this agenda item. It is a pleasure and privilege for me to present to the committee the draft report of the 7th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction. I would like to thank the Secretariat for facilitating the preparation of the draft report and for the assistance and cooperation extended to me. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, a report for the meeting has been prepared to capture the organizational aspect of the meeting and a summary of recommendations and decisions. The recommendations and decisions contained in the report will be submitted to and presented at the Commission's at its 78th session in 2022. May I now propose that we review and adopt the draft report section by section. I have been informed by the Secretariat that minor editorial corrections, such as spelling mistakes, will be taken care of by the Secretariat in the final report. In the light of this, and in the interest of time, delegates are urged not to bring grammatical or minor typographical errors that do not affect the meanings of the text to the attention of the meeting. I also wish to request delegates wishing to make minor changes to the text to read them out at dictation speed. With respect to the major changes, delegates are requested to provide written text to the Secretariat by email at escapdrs@un.org. May I now proceed with the considerations of the report? We begin with Section A, Matters Calling for Action. Are there any comments on A1, Recommendation 1? I see none. Let us move to A1, Recommendation 2. Are there any comments? No? Thank you. Let's move to Recommendation 2. No, thank you. Let's move to Recommendation 3. Russian Federation, please.
Chair, and thank you for giving me the floor. My delegation would like to add some wording to the recommendation number 3. So the third line, after 2030, comma, we would like to add, including by.
Can you see it?
Yes, including by. Thank you, Secretariat. And the fifth line, after 2030 and other relevant, delete, please, taking into account other global, regional and sub-regional frameworks would like to add frameworks after sub-regional frameworks and initiatives. Thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor.
Thank you. Are there any further comments on this proposal? I see none. So I declare that the recommendation 3 on the sections A1, so amended by distinguished delegate from Russian Federation, as adopted by the committee. Thank you. And now let's move to section B. Matters brought to the attention to the Commission. Decision 1. Russian Federation.
Our proposal will be to delete the word endorses, and write down takes note of the recommendations, etc., and etc. Notes, takes notes. I believe takes note. Yes, please. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Secretary, and thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor again.
Thank you. Are there any further comment on this proposal? Thank you. I see none, so I declare the paragraph section B on the session 1 as amended by the distinguished delegate from Russian Federation as adopted by the committee. Let's move to decision 2. Russia again, please.
To prioritize the mic, but we would like to add one more adding to decision number 2. We would like to delete after the word the committee. The committee, we would like to delete welcomes the recommendation of the thematic expert meeting, further welcomes the Secretariat and collaborating United Nations agencies. Right. We would like to delete it. And we would like to add the word decides. The committee decides to continue. Yes, thank you. And one more small adding. The last line, I believe, after the frameworks and initiatives, comma, and yes, and we would like to delete and notes and welcomes the work, etc. We would like to delete till the end of the sentence. Yes, we would like to delete. And add and request the Secretariat to assist member states in enhancing work and request the Secretariat to assist member states in enhancing work on DRR issues. Full stop. Thank you. Thank you, Secretariat, and thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor again.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Russian Federation. Are there any further comments on this proposal? Thank you. I hear none, so I declare the decision 2, so amended by distinguished delegate from Russia, as adopted by the committee. And now, let's move to decision number 3. Are there any comment on this? I see none. Let's move to decision 4. Are there any comment on decision 4? I see none. So let's move to decision 5. Are there any comment on decision 5? I see none. Thank you. Let's move to decision 6. Are there any comment on decision 6? I see none. Thank you. Let's move to decision 7. Are there any comment on this? I see none. Thank you. So let's move to section 2, organizations. A, number 3, paragraph number 3 on the organization. Are there any comment? No? Thank you. Let's move to organization B, attendance. So I would like to inform the committee that the credentials have been received from Tonga in addition to the member state listed in the draft report. Are there any comment on this? No? Thank you. Let's move to number 5. Are there any comment on paragraph 5, number 5? No? Thank you. Let's move to number 6. Are there any comment? I see none. So let's move to number 7. Are there any comment on this? I see none. So let's move to paragraph 8. Are there any comment? I see none. Thank you. So let's move to para 9. Are there any comment on this? I see none. Thank you.
Okay, I will tell. Chair, Thailand asked for the floor, but they cannot click.
For para which one?
For which paragraph? For the... Okay, let's check. Yeah, okay, thank you. Sure. So they cannot click, so maybe we can give the floor to them.
Okay.
Thailand.
I recognize the distinguished delegate from Thailand wishes to take the floor. And please inform us which paragraph that I'm going to give a comment on. Thank you. Distinguished delegate from Thailand, please.
Thailand, would you please kindly press request to speak button, the blue button on the lower right side? Thank
They
you.
say they cannot.
distinguished delegate from Thailand. We are still waiting for the distinguished delegate from Thailand to make any comment. There's still a technical issue. I have been informed by the Secretariat that the distinguished delegate from Thailand would like to take the floor and make a comment. But for time being, we haven't has any connection with the delegation. The Secretariat is still trying to connect the distinguished delegate from Thailand. The Secretariat is trying to communicate with the delegates from Thailand because there is a technical issues. Hmm? Oh, I recognize also distinguished delegates from India wishes to take the floor. India, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We would like to have a clarity on this para 9. Actually, the CDRI has been placed under the listing of non-governmental organizations, CSOs, and other entities. So, would it be better that CDRI is an international organization to place under para 8? Thank you.
Thank you. Secretariat. Are there any further comment on this? So while we are waiting for the communication with the distinguished delegates from Thailand, if there is no other comment on para 9, Secretariat?
Thailand is coming. Thailand is coming.
Oh, Thailand. No, Thailand's already. Please, Thailand.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sorry for the technical error. My intervention would be on decision 1. I apologize. Can we go back to decision 1, please?
That would please to move to decision 1.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I mean, our understanding of this paragraph, it's, we discussed this on Tuesday, and it's a very action-oriented, very concrete recommendation for us to move forward on more deliberations on the health aspects of the center framework. And then we just would like to seek clarification, perhaps by the Secretariat, on the words that have been proposed by our Russian colleague takes note of this recommendation, whether this would be adequate, for us to move forward on this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Thailand. So I would like to ask the Secretary to respond.
Thank you very much to the distinguished delegates of Thailand, and thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor. My apologies for a slight delay in response. It took a bit of time for me to get the connection. Yes, the recommendation of the thematic expert meeting is transmitted to the committee, and the committee has taken due note. So we are able to continue with the work, of course, within existing resources, but there is nothing, the way the paragraph is formulated now, there is nothing in the paragraph that would prevent or stop the Secretariat from implementing the recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Secretariat. Are there any comment on this? Russia, please.
I would like to speak on my native language. Хотел бы поблагодарить делегацию Таиланда за их комментарии. Наверное, сразу на полях хотелось бы ответить, почему мы сразу запросили слово. Просто мы твердо уверены, что только государства-члены комиссии должны принимать решения относительно текста документа на основании тех указаний, тех мыслей, которыми они располагают и обладают на данный момент. По поводу нашего предложения, которое было озвучено мною, я бы хотел в двух словах объяснить, почему мы предложили именно takes note of. хотел бы сказать, что на основании резолюции 77/1, в параграфе номер 14, говорится о том, что необходимо собраться для обсуждения вопросов по имплементации Сендайской рамочной программы действий, включая вопросы здравоохранения и банковские принципы, на полях 7-й сессии Комитета по уменьшению опасности бедствий. К чему это я сейчас говорю? Потому что мы, насколько мне известно, не создавали никакого дополнительного механизма в виде экспертной рабочей группы предыдущими решениями комитетов по уменьшению опасности бедствий. Соответственно, мероприятие, которое проходило 24, если мне не 24 августа, оно носит информативный характер для нас, для всех. И я хочу отметить, что если вы посмотрите на программу недели уменьшения опасности бедствий, будет написано, что председатель группы направит на 7-ю сессию комитета информационный документ. Хотелось бы отметить, что поскольку мы сейчас с вами говорим о экспертном заседании, который в итоге принял решение, представленное информационным документом комитету, с нашей стороны, как нам представляется, одобрять его endorse мы можем только принять к сведению. Если же мы с вами говорим о конкретных действиях, которые мы можем с вами прочитать решение номер 2, где конкретное задание государств-членов секретариату помогать государствам-членам увеличивать сотрудничество по вопросам уменьшения опасности бедствий, где, если мы с вами хотим что-либо дальнейшие действия совершать, мы готовы совершить их. Относительное решение номер 2. Спасибо большое за внимание. Thank you, Chair, for giving me the floor.
Thank you. So, are there any further comment? There is also one proposal from distinguished delegates from Bangladesh who couldn't join us with the technical issue, I understand. So they sent us the proposals in decision 1. The word "take note of" will be repeated since it is already in the second last line of the paragraph. I repeat, from Bangladesh, in decision 1, the word "take note of" will be repeated since it is already in the second last line of the paragraph.
The Russian Federation wants to take the floor.
Yeah. I recognize Russian Federation would like to take the floor. Please.
Я хотел бы сказать, can you hear right now?
Yes.
Okay. I try to speak on my native language, but looks like there is some technical issues with interpretation. Anyway, regarding the proposal by distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, I'm not a native language speaker, but I definitely believe that the first line where we talk about takes note of the recommendation, and the last line where there is taking note of the Bangkok principle, they're totally different meaning, two totally different meanings, and I believe we should keep the last taking note of the Bangkok principles, because, as I said, as my point of view, of course, if some native speaker will, if some native speaker helps me to understand the difference of the meaning, but as far as I understand from the text, they're totally different meanings from the first take notes and the last take note of the Bangkok principle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any further comments on decision 1? I see none, so we stick on the proposal made forward by distinguished delegate from Russian Federation. And with also taking into account the response from the Secretariat. I see none, so thank you very much. Let's continue our review on the paragraph 9. Are there any further comment on paragraph 9, section B? I see none. So let's move to paragraph 10, section B. Are there any comment on paragraph 10? I see none. Thank you. Let's move to section C, elections of officers, paragraph 11. Are there any comment? I see none. Let's move to paragraph section D, paragraph 12, agenda. Are there any comment on section D, agenda, paragraph 12? Section E, other events, paragraph 13. Altogether, until from A until H. I see none. Thank you very much. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we have now reviewed the final part of the report, and I wish to propose that the draft report be adopted with editorial changes to be taken care of by the Secretariat. Are we all in agreement on this point? Excellencies, distinguished delegate, as I do not see any views to the contrary, I wish to declare this draft adopted by consensus. Thank you. The draft is adopted. Before we move to the closing, will any delegates to take the floor? I see none. Thank you very much. We will now proceed to the closings of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, this brings us to the last agenda items of the 7th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction. I would like to invite Ms. Tiziana Bonapace, Director at ICT and Disaster Risk Reduction Divisions, to deliver closing remarks. Ms. Bonapace, the floor is yours.
Chair, for giving me the floor. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to congratulate all delegations on the adoption of the report and recommendations of this 7th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction. Over the past 3 days, your discussions have covered a wide spectrum of issues that point to intensifying and dynamic risk scenarios in the region. Against this complexity, I think 2 concluding points become clear. One is that the convergence of natural and biological hazards has created a more complex and cascading riskscape. And 2, that scaling up regional and sub-regional cooperation is ever more important given the growing multitude of transboundary hazards our region faces. So how do we move forward from here? The committee made a number of recommendations that will be presented to the 78th session of the Commission. Let me highlight a few. One is the need to take actions to scale up regional and sub-regional cooperation strategies that manage disaster risk and build resilience in a more coherent and systematic way, covering disasters, climate, and health perspectives. Underline the importance of the findings of the Asia-Pacific Disaster Report 2021, the committee requested from the Secretariat continued support on risk-informed policy decision-making of member states and a deepening of its analytical research that includes further development of the risk and resilience portal of the Asia-Pacific Disaster Resilience Network. And I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the delegations for the appreciation expressed and for the strong support given in terms of the findings of the Asia-Pacific Disaster Report and the objectives of the risk and resilience portal that was launched at the beginning of the Disaster Resilience Week. The committee further recommended concrete actions to build national capacities for disaster preparedness, adaptation, and resilience, by sharing information, expertise, resources, and good practices through the Asia Pacific Disaster Resilience Network. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to thank you all on behalf of ESCAP for your active participation and constructive interventions during this 7th session. It has been an honor to gain from the expertise that was shared on the issues before us, and the discussions have led to clear and actionable guidance to the Secretariat in its future delivery of the work program, and ultimately to strengthening regional cooperation and sub-regional cooperation for disaster risk reduction and resilience building. I express our deep appreciation to the chairperson, Her Excellency Ms. Khadija Nassim, Minister of State for Environment, Climate Change and Technology of the Maldives, to you, Vice Chairperson, His Excellency Mr. Rachmat Budiman, the Ambassador of Indonesia and Permanent Representative to ESCAP, and to the Vice Chair, Mr. Hiroshi Kawamura, Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Japan in Thailand and Permanent Representative to ESCAP. I thank you for your leadership and for your guidance, which has contributed to the successful outcome of the committee. And finally, in closing, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the staff from the ICT and Disaster Risk Reduction Division, the Office of the Executive Secretary, the conference service staff, the editors, interpreters, and translators, and all staff members who contributed to the success of this virtual session. It's always challenging for us. It's challenging for member states to be participating virtually, but I think we managed to get through, and we managed to get through very smoothly, I think. So with all the hard work and with all the tireless efforts that everyone put in, I think we have reached the end of our 7th session, and we look forward to very close engagement with you all in the coming year and the coming 2 years until the committee meets again. We will be working in close partnership with you in implementation of the recommendations that and the guidance that has been given to us through this committee. So I wish you all a very good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm unable this time to wish you all a safe trip back home. You are already home, so all I can do is just wish you a good day, and looking forward to working with you all in the near future. Stay safe, and thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Bonapace. Before I declare the meeting closed, I should like to reiterate my sincere appreciation for the honor extended to me to serve as Vice Chair. I would like to thank all of you for the spirit of cooperation and goodwill that made this session a success. My special thanks also go to other members of the Bureau for their support and contribution. I wish to commend the Secretariat for the successful organizations of the 7th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction, and the staff members of the ICT and Disaster Risk Reduction Division for their hard work and thorough preparation necessary for convening this session. With this, I declare the 7th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction closed. Thank you very much.
7กับรีบลงมาข้างล่างถ่ายรูป7กับรีบลงมาข้างล่าง